Do you believe in God? What an odd question this is. I mean, people are so divided over this question that it is insane. Some people say that there is a God, some people say that there isn't a God. So, who is right and who is wrong? Now, I have been an atheist for 28 years of my life, and I am 29 years old now. That means that most of my life I have been against the idea of God, of there being a higher being than us, of there being a being that created this universe, that developed everything, because I was strongly focused on the evidence, such as science, what we can see, and so on and so forth. What made me change my mind after my whole life being against the idea of God is this one particular situation that I put myself in, and that is I went to a ayahuasca ceremony. Now, if you don't know what ayahuasca is, you can go and search a documentary from Netflix called How to Change Your Mind. And you will find that ayahuasca is a psychedelic drug. I do not condone drugs, I do not recommend drugs. However, this was one thing that I wanted to try ever since I was a teenager. And I had put myself in a position where one day I'm gonna do it. One day I'm gonna find the ceremony and I'm gonna go ahead and see what it's all about. So yeah, what changed my mind is actually this ayahuasca ceremony. I have realized through this ceremony that there is something more to us than just our physical bodies and our minds and our souls. There is more to this life than just getting born and then living the life until death. So I truly and honestly do not believe in nihilism anymore, because there is more to life than just dying without any purpose. So yes, how did ayahuasca change my mind? Well, I'm gonna talk about the full experience in one of the next videos. What I'm gonna leave you with right now is that it broke down my ego to the point where I felt and actually lived through my ego death. It humbled me down so much so that I could not even look up anymore as a person with, any ego. I was completely and utterly broken down to the point where I could humble myself enough to understand that there is something greater than us in this universe. And can we prove this? Is there any way that we can prove that God exists? We cannot prove that. There's no way that we can prove anything in this life. We cannot prove that we are having this conversation. We cannot prove that this video exists that you're watching right now. It is all based on evidence. So we gotta base our faith and our life on evidence that we see and feel and touch and so on and so forth. So how do you live your life depends on your own worldview and the way that you were conditioned throughout your whole life. For me, evidence that was given to me by going through this ayahuasca ceremony journey was enough. Actually, it was enough for me to understand that there really is something greater than us, something that we call God, something that we call a higher being, energy, or something like that. What I came to realize also is that this higher being that we call God actually cares about us. The comfort that I felt after feeling like I died is something that cannot be described in our words. It's something that cannot be described by mere feelings that we feel on our day-to-day life basis, God filled me with so much love that I cannot even express that. I cannot express what it is like to feel so much love. It is something that's beyond our love for our parents. It is something that's beyond our love for our significant others. It is more than love for our children. It is an insane amount of love that can only be described as, I don't know, ocean, that we can only grasp this one single drop of ocean that we can truly understand. Everything else is so much overwhelming that we cannot even comprehend it. That is how it felt like to understand that there is a God. Now, my journey was an interesting one in a sense that I didn't just find God in a sense of there is just this higher being that cares about us. I found God that truly cares about us, a God that presented himself to us. Now everybody's gonna say, every atheist that I know is going to be very skeptic about this idea, because every atheist that I know how they feel. I know how they think. I have been an atheist, as I said, my whole life, for 28 years. I understand the skepticism. I understand that you might even say that, oh, with the drugs and the hallucinations, you just felt something higher and you felt this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's real. However, let me tell you this. We cannot understand or comprehend this level of being. So the only way that you can understand it is if you go and do this ceremony yourself. Now, I do not know if I would recommend it or not, and this is something that I'm gonna leave open-ended. Go do it if you wanna do it, don't do it if you're afraid of doing it. And for any atheist out there who is skeptic and wants to change their mind, you can simply watch the Netflix documentary that I told you about earlier, How to Change Your Mind, and figure it out for yourself. Are you willing to crush that ego of yours, crush that strong belief that you have that God doesn't exist, and see if your mind can be changed? Now, what God am I talking about when I say that there is a God that's loving and that's presented himself to us? It is the God that we call Jesus Christ. That is the one and only God that exists in this universe, because there is only one God to begin with. There are no multiple gods, there are no multiple beings that created or cooperated to create this universe. Only one God. Now, I don't know what you're thinking. Is this just another person who fell down for religion, fell down for mainstream thoughts of what God is? You might think to yourself that, and you are totally fine to think that if you want. However, I'm telling you this after being an atheist for 28 years. I'm telling you this after being a skeptic my whole life. I didn't just fall for Jesus. It was first a journey that I went through, digging and exploring different religions. What pulled me the most at first was Buddhism. When I went and researched Buddhism, I found out that Siddhartha Gautama Buddha explored the idea of human suffering and the problem of suffering in general. However, what I realized is that he never spoke about God being a God or any kind of concept of God. He only talked about suffering and morality and how we should achieve nirvana, the state of letting go of every desire that we might have. And I realized that this isn't the right path. While it is a great path and it is a great way to view life, it isn't the correct one. Now, this is for myself personally. You might not agree with me, and that's completely fine. Then I went to and researched Christianity. When I read the Gospels of Mark, John, Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I realized instantly in the moment, this is it. This is the God that I've been searching for my whole life. Jesus Christ, who gave his life for us and for our sin. Now, I'm gonna dive deeper into these topics in another video, but to understand how God loves us, he gave his only Son to die for us. There is no greater form of love than sacrificing your life for somebody else. At least that's what I think. Now, we're gonna go back and forth on this for quite a bit, I imagine, because quite a lot of skeptics are gonna have all kinds of arguments against this idea, and it's totally fine. And we're gonna discuss this at great length, I hope. This God that died resurrected 3 days after being killed. There is no other God in history that ever did that, except for Osiris from the Egyptian mythology. However, Osiris was chopped up into, I believe, 18 pieces, and he was put back together with a couple of pieces missing, and he was put together but to rule the underworld. So we never got to see him actually die and rise from the dead like Jesus did. And then lastly, last thing that I wanna share with you is that I didn't stop at Jesus. I was very skeptical as well, because even though I felt like this is it, I wanted to give Islam a chance. I wanted to see if this Jesus figure is compelling because of his nature and the way that the book was written, the book of Bible, or if Quran is going to give me the same kind of feeling. Because if it gave me the same kind of feeling, that means that neither one is correct, neither one is true. Because what I felt during the ayahuasca ceremony proved that there is something. I just needed to find out which one or who it is. So I went ahead and explored Quran as well. I wanted to explore Islam to see if there is truth to it. And what I came to realize is that while Muhammad had great teachings, he didn't live a life of a true prophet, of somebody who is a true follower of God. Muhammad kind of adjusted his faith to his own views and to his own ideas of what God should be like. Now, I do not really want to get into arguments over details when it comes to Quran and Islam or Buddhism even. I'm just gonna say this. I truly believe that Jesus Christ is the King of this universe, the God that we are all searching for, that we are not perhaps all, not perhaps everybody is searching for a God or the purpose of this life. However, for all of those who are searching for the purpose of life, this is where you can find it. If you come to understand the sacrifice and what Jesus did for all of us. Now, I have a lot more to say on this topic, but I want to have something left for other videos. So if you have any questions, please comment them down below and I will read every single one and I will try to respond to everybody. Thank you for watching this video and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!